angels willing to hold us in their arms. When our worth was stone, our ashes, and we both passed on. Let forever mean forever and carry on.
Good afternoon. Wow, been kind of a crazy day in news, really. I actually flipped on I guess it's Parliament over there in the UK, and listened to their proceedings for a bit today. Quite humorous, I must say, quite humorous. I kind of like how they do things over there in a sense, not necessarily their structure, but it seems like even under moments of intense stress, at least some of them try to have a sense of humor, try to keep a little bit, lighthearted, and it's kind of enjoyable to watch. That being said, it almost seems like it's a show, and I don't know that it is or not. I don't live there and follow it enough to know, but it was, in my opinion, kind of humorous to watch today. So that's been in much of the news today, been in a lot of the news today. The subject, though, that I want to discuss today is prepping, and I want to discuss the issue of being discouraged or intimidated by prepping. And this is something that came to mind today as I was working on the wish list, and it was like, whoa. I think it's important not to look at that mountain. I really think it's important not to look at that mountain. And I was kind of forced to an extent today. But anyway, we'll get to that in just a moment. I'm going to go over the normal stuff, and since that's going to be the subject at hand, it kind of goes into the latter part of the normal stuff, so to speak. And we're going to discuss it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to, and I'm actually going to open it up. In other words, I'm going to actually pull chat up front so I can see chat, which is something I normally don't see. But I'm going to make sure that I've got it pulled up front so that I can see chat. So if anybody's got any questions or if they've got any concerns, by all means ask. And I'll work in concert with Jen. I'll have her smack me with a crutch to let me know there's a question or a comment or something that needs my attention. She does really good at that. I mean, she does incredible. A great assistant to have by my side, without a doubt. So anyway, let me start going through the normal stuff as I normally would, and then we'll get to the topic at hand as we can. So real quick, Amazon affiliate, we are at $12.75. I think that's unchanged from yesterday. So thank you for those that participate in that. For those that don't know, we are an Amazon affiliate. We have links in the description as well as at the top of the watchmannews.com right there. You click that, takes you to Amazon. If you make a purchase after clicking our link to get to Amazon, the item doesn't cost you anything more, and it throws a little bit our way. We've got an Amazon store over there too. It's essentially the same idea, except we've got categories there, bunch of items in those categories, and it's the same thing. If you make a purchase, it doesn't cost you anything more, and it throws a little bit our way. We have a Teespring store. The best way to navigate that is go to thewatchmannews.com and either click on the link here, which takes you to the individual article right there, the Teespring store, or you can just scroll down on the home page and you can see all of our designs right there. So if you click on a design, that will actually take you to Teespring, which has a lot more than just t-shirts. In fact, the Watchman News logo has, I think there's like 44 different items that you can purchase, and you only have the rights you're willing to enforce and defend. I think that's got like 39 different items you can purchase with that design on it. So that's the best way to go about that. We also have a donate link. That is also in the description of the videos, as well as at thewatchmannews.com in the main menu right there. that will just take you to our PayPal donation page. You don't have to have a PayPal account. You can just do it as a guest with a debit or a credit card. And I always let people know, it does say Transforming Disabilities up top there. That is us. It also says Purpose, the Watchman News donation. That way you're in the right place, or you know you're in the right place. Anyway, so I was trying to get through that quickly without fumbling too bad. So I had added something else just yesterday morning, and it's an Amazon priority list. And I always talk about priorities in prepping, and it's, in my opinion, a very essential thing to do. Now, this is also a personal thing, because this, priority list is going to be different for every single one of us. What might be a little more important to me may not be on the top level of importance for you. We have a pretty unique circumstance that I deal with, and that is our health, our physical health. You all know that Jen has cerebral palsy, so it's not like she's going to get out there and run a 20-meter sprint or whatever. Not going to happen. I'm not going to be doing that either. She may be limited by crutches. I'm limited by breathing. So if I run even a block, I'm going to have to spend a few minutes to recover. And that's after wondering if I'm going to recover. COPD sucks. So we both have our limitations. We're both disabled. And so I have to prep around that. And that, in many cases, requires even more preps. When I prep, I have to be able to make plans, not just react, if you understand what I'm saying. I can't just, I just can't do things on the fly, because it's not going to work like that. I have to have a clear and concise plan laid out, or else we're going to find ourselves in a very bad situation very quickly. So in many cases, that means we need different types of preps. In many cases, it means we need more preps. But the important part is, and the topic of what I'm talking about, is not letting it intimidate you. Especially if you're new to prepping, this is very easy to let happen. And to be honest, I'm surprised that I deal with it as calmly as what I do. But I also kind of have the attitude I can only do what I can do, and I can't do anything more. I'm not going to sit there and freak out about something that I have absolutely no control over. And so, I do my best to prioritize. In this last year, we have really came a long way. I mean, a huge way. I've been working my butt off. We've had some awesome generosity by some awesome individuals that has definitely helped out. And between the two things, we have made it a long way. I would have never guessed we would have been as far as what we are right now on our prepping journey. I would have never guessed it. But we're doing good. We're doing really, really good. I went today and I started this Amazon list, and let me go over that stuff real quick for people that don't know, because there's something I didn't really talk about yesterday, I don't think, that I think is important. As you could see, I clicked, we have an Amazon priority list button at thewatchmannews.com. I also put that link in the description as well. So anyway, that takes you to this page, and it's just like an Amazon wish list. It's pretty much the exact same thing as if you had a bridal registry or a baby shower registry. It's kind of the same thing. And I was adding quite a bit of stuff to it because I have a huge wish list, a private wish list in the back of Amazon. I also have a pretty large watch list over on eBay. And I highly recommend that you do the same. I highly recommend. Now, you don't have to make it public. You can leave it private, however you want to do it. But here's the importance of it. It allows you to keep track of where you're at, where you need to go. And here's something that is essential. Okay, this is absolutely essential. Don't wait until the last minute. Get out there, research, read your butt off. Watch a million videos on reviews on products. Do everything you can to find the best bang for the buck and an item that you see as obtainable, and you put that in your wish list or your watch list or whatever they call it on that particular website. I think Walmart's got one too. And that way, when you do come into the funds to purchase things, you don't have to start that process right at that moment. It's all right there. You know what you need. You know what type of money it's going to take to get there. And you just make it happen. So I highly encourage doing this. But never let it intimidate you. I'll tell you, I had to sigh a few times today as I was adding to this list. Now, I don't have this list because I expect everybody to get everything for me because I don't want to do anything for myself. That's not why this list is here. This list is here to also help you. And that's why I take the time for every item that I put up. There's a place where I can put in like a little comment, okay? And so that's what I've done for every single item, and I will continue to do so for every single item that I put here. That will hopefully be, in a sense, educational, so that you'll understand why it is that it's in my list, and you will understand why it is that I chose that particular unit or brand or model or whatever. And I really don't, when I did this, this is not in priority. This is not in, like any type of priority order. I just put it all on there, okay? The only thing that we have really prioritized at this particular time is that drone. And like I've said, that is our number one thing. Other than that, I'm kind of prioritizing cold weather stuff, because it is that season, or it's coming into that season. So I'm kind of prioritizing that. So that's another reason why it's important to do this. I added quite a bit. My list ended... Where did my list end yesterday when I did the show? I don't know. It might have ended here. I don't know. But nonetheless, doesn't matter. So anyway, I went in today and I started moving a bunch of different stuff over from my private wish list to this wish list. And it's just like, whoa, we've got a long way to go. You know, don't let that intimidate you. Take it one day at a time, one thing at a time, and do your absolute best to prioritize. And the reason why I think that's so important, that whole priority thing, is because you have to look at it this way. You have to sit there and start chipping away things on your list as if you're saying, I may not be able to get this. So, you also have to look at your situation. Now, our intent is I really plan to bug in. But regardless of that, I think everybody, for the most part, is going to have to bug out at least for a period of time. It's just that gut feeling. So I want to be able to make sure that we can actually survive cold weather, for instance, for, say, a period of even up to 3 months. And so, I look at that, and I look at the items we have, and I look at my list. Like, one of the things that I swapped over here today is right here, sleeping bags, okay? We don't own a sleeping bag, not one. However, I don't have that at the very tip top of the list, and the reason why is because we do have blankets. We've got like 2 comforters, we've got, we got sheets, we got other blankets. I mean, if push came to shove, we could wrap up in 1,000,000 blankets and keep warm. Sure, that's not going to go into a little stuffed sack, a compression sack, and fit easily underneath the bottom of my bug-out bag, but we will survive. So that's kind of how I look at this when I go through and I try to decide what is more of a priority than the other thing. Is there a way, is there a method that I have to get around not having this item? So that's the way I recommend everybody do things. But don't ever let it intimidate you. Don't ever let it intimidate you. I don't know if you paid attention as I scrolled there. There's a lot of stuff on here. A lot of stuff on here. Like, I did add water filters. This is, these filters are like half the price of the Berkeys. And from what I can tell, they're essentially the same thing. You've got the heavy metal filters. You've got the carbon filters. If you look at the specs on them, the specs are identical to the Berkey filters. Half the price. Our filters, we've got a gravity feed water filter that I made out of buckets. But the filters are like, oh gosh, they're almost twice as old as what they're supposed to be before you replace them. So, yeah, they're old. But it is what it is. We're not dead, so I guess the water we're drinking's okay. We take it straight out of the faucet and put it into the water filter, and then the water we drink and stuff to make coffee, and even Blue's water she drinks, that comes out of the gravity feed water filter. But things like ponchos, guess what? We've got trash bags. If it would get that bad, we've got trash bags. I will make it work. I will make it happen. Okay. Tarp, yeah, there's not a real good solution that I happen to have for that. Clothing, I'm kind of skimpy when it comes to clothing. I don't have a whole lot of good clothes, but I will make what I have work. These are things, I don't want to call them luxuries, but they're not 100% necessary. Not a lot of them aren't. Like the Write in the Rain notebook. Be great to have. I think it's an important item for a prepper to have. But you know what? Chances are you're going to live if you don't have one. Okay? Talked about sleeping bags. Here's a cool little bag you can hang up. It's kind of like a wet dry sack, but it holds water. And, you can hook a water filter right in line with it. You can hang it up in a tree. Great way to carry your water from its source to, say, a tree. Get your water filtering. It holds 10 liters. Great thing. Am I going to die without it? No, I'm not. So I look through the list and I think, okay, what is absolute priorities? What do I not have, whatever, to get around? And really, in this list, there's really not much of anything. Comes back to our number one priority. That drum, because I don't have any way around that. And the reason why that's so important is because of our physical limitations, and we also have limitations in defense. We don't own any firearms, okay? So I would rather be able to make 110% sure that the coast is going to be clear before we move from one location to another, before we actually set out and do it. Because again, once we commit, we're committed. We're committed. I'm not going to be able to run far, I can tell you that. Jen can't run at all. So once we set out, we've committed. So that's what I meant by when I said earlier about we have to just plan a little more. We have to be a little more concise, a little more precise with the actions that we make. Because there's a lot of limitations that we have. Now, your situation's likely different. And so your set of priorities are likely going to be different priorities. Just the way it is. But the reason why I showed you that is because I want you to understand the difference in priorities. Food, we still haven't really gotten very much further on food. We've got about 3.5 months worth of food in there. That's it. And I've talked about it before, why that's not like at the number one. I wished I could do it, but I can't. I wished I could go out and get 1,000 pounds of weed or whatever, but I can't do it. Number one, I can't financially do it. And number two, how in the hell am I going to get it here? And then number three, where in the hell am I going to put it? The reason I'm not so concerned with that is because of our location. And let me tell you something, one deer would feed me and Jen for a good little bit of while. You mix, deer meat up with rice or with some noodles or whatever the case may be, right? And that's going to last us a good while, one deer. So I don't look at ourselves as just being, starving to death, because I will go get deer. We don't live in a location where that's going to be hard to do. In fact, they're pretty plentiful around this area. All you got to do is drive along a country road at night around here and you'll find out real quick. So, when you set up your priorities, you look very, close at your particular situation, your environment, whether maybe your physical situation, it may be others in your group's physical situation. You look at whether or not there are children in the group. You look at all of these different factors and you try to find out, well, what is it that's going to most likely kill me? See, it's not what you know that kills you. It's what you don't know that kills you. It's what you don't know that kills you. So you have to look through all of those things that you got, and you have to kind of deduct from that, which is it that you know least about. It's not necessarily always an easy thing to do. But again, get yourself a list together. Don't let it intimidate you. And work at it. One thing at a time. And you will get there. And if you don't get there, at least you got closer. And that's what counts. I feel a lot more comfortable today than I did a year ago. A lot more comfortable. I would say that we have, no pun intended, but we have a fighting chance at this point. We've got a fair chance. Okay, we've got the major things covered. Fire, water, shelter, although our shelter kind of sucks. But we've got one, My intent, again, why is that not up on the top of the list? Well, you say your shelter sucks. Why is that not number one? Well, because I can build a natural shelter. Plain and simple. All right? I've got a saw in my bug out bag. I've got paracord. I've got, woods. Got wood. I'll build us a natural shelter. So that's not so bad. And that is one of the things that does kind of intimidate me when I go looking is tents. Man, those suckers, to get a decent one, yeah, that's not cheap. You're talking probably the least expensive tent that would really work for us that I've found is around the $300 range. And that's when they're in stock, which isn't very often. So yeah, and that's why you don't see that on our list. Okay? Because that I consider being a little bit too much out there, too much beyond reach at this point. And so that's why I don't have anything like that on here. But a lot of this stuff is really non-essential. I would say the most essential would be to be able to conduct security checks. That would be it. Yeah, socks. I don't know that I even have wait, maybe the pair I have on don't have holes. I don't know. I think I have maybe a couple of pair that don't have holes. But when that Amazon affiliate money comes at the end of the month, I am going to get, I have on here for 2-3 packs of socks. I am going to get one of the 2-3 packs, and then I'm going to get that sandpaper that I had mentioned. So I'll have some socks. Like I said, blankets. Do we have anything, like a good quality wool blanket? No. But we do have comforters, so we will survive. We will make it. Got to remember, I've got a tent stove. So, it's not like there won't be any heat source, okay? But the warmer that you can dress, the less you're going to have to rely on that heat source as well. So, like I said, I've got a lot of stuff involving like winter wear on here now, because that is one area that we both need to work on. I have to figure out yet, what I'm looking for Jen sizes. It's kind of hard for me to figure out my size, to be honest, because when you go looking for this stuff, and keep this in mind too, when you go looking for lower cost items on places like eBay and Amazon and stuff like that, a lot of times when you're looking at the sizes of clothing, that's going to be for like Chinese sizes or European sizes, not necessarily American sizes. So really do your homework when you're ordering clothing to make sure that you're going to get the right size. Because I am definitely not I'm not a large, and I'm certainly not an extra large, okay? But there are items that I have ordered that I had actually ordered extra large, and they fit perfect, okay? I'm not a big guy at all, but it was like a Chinese size. For a little Chinaman, it was extra large. So keep that in mind. That's important. But go through the priorities of things that you need to survive, okay? You're going to have heat. You're going to have fire. You're going to have clean water. You're going to have shelter. And work from that. Work from that. Like I said, a lot of what's in my list anymore, and I'm not saying it's necessarily luxury items, but chances are a lot less that my life is going to rely on it than the stuff that we've already gotten. Okay, so whatever you do, though, don't let it intimidate you or put you in so much fear that you don't do anything. Don't let it freeze you from trying, because that is the most dangerous thing you can do for yourself and for your loved ones. Just work at it methodically, one thing by one thing by one thing. One thing that is free for the most part, I mean, yeah, you could get real stupid and technical about it, but knowledge. And that's your most important prep. So if you're fearful because there's a particular item that you can't afford to buy for prepping, start researching how you can get around buying the pretty shiny thing. Okay? Like I mentioned, natural shelters, and that's why I'm not freaking out because I can't afford a big expensive tent, right? You can find 1,000,001 videos on YouTube on building natural shelters. 1,000,000 of them. They're all over. Look at the one Survival Lily's got. Geez, that thing's nice. But you can find a ton of videos and a ton of information in forums and all kinds of other places on how to build natural shelters. You can also find a bunch of information on how you can use tarps to do so. Tarps and cordage. There's a lot of information out there. And as long as you obtain the knowledge, the more knowledge you obtain, the less items that you will absolutely have to have in order to survive. So that's essential. I put knowledge above everything else. And I spend every single day trying to learn at least something new in the survival and in the prepping kind of area. So, again, don't let it scare you. But this is why I get bent out of shape real quick when people get an attitude like, oh, well, you can prep for $5 a month. No, you can't. And like I've said, yeah, if you want to get stupid technical with it, yeah, somebody could buy a bag of rice once a month, and that's prepping, technically. But come on. We have to be realistic with this, too. This stuff gets expensive. And, as you add more things to it, man, does it rack up. It racks up quick. I mean, just take, for instance, and you have to understand, there's a fair amount of our prepping items that we have to have too. Because I don't want to leave Jen in a situation to where she's screwed without something because my dumbass is laying dead in a ditch somewhere. Right? And I'm the one that had the one that we had on us. Like yesterday, I ordered our compasses. Right? I ordered 2. That way Jen can have one, and I've got one. Again, if I'm out on some type of operation or something, you damn right I'm going to have my compass on me. Right? So that leaves Jen without one if I only got one. And I'll be damned if I do that. So, that makes it even more challenging when you have to get multiples. But it is what it is. But you just go through, you find out, first step, get your list made. And it doesn't matter whether you do it, at Amazon or Walmart or eBay or all three. It doesn't matter. I've got, like I said, I've got a wish list here. I've got a watch list over on eBay. I really don't do Walmart, so I don't have nothing there. I do have an account with them, but I don't have anything there. Get yourself a list made and then prioritize it. And you can actually move these if you want, by the way, on the Amazon here. Like if you hover over to the side, you can grab it and drop it and move it. So yeah, I could actually sit here and take the time and go through and absolutely prioritize and fine tune every bit of it. You can also, like when you put the item here in your wish list, you can click this edit comment thing, and you can put in a quantity. And if you already happen to have some, you put that in there. And they do have a priority thing here that you can click. However, I will note that if you choose medium priority, it won't say anything here. Okay, like for these balaclavas, I just left it at medium, which is default, so it doesn't even show anything for priority. Just so you know, most of this stuff I didn't even change it. Now, here's the other thing. I urge folks to check out this list. And the reason why, and I mentioned it earlier, it's what I wrote behind it that I think is important to read, okay? I spend a lot of time when I look for items because I really, I try to find the best deal possible every single time. And I spend a lot of time doing it. I couldn't tell you how long I spent looking, did I pass it up? Looking for a good sleeping bag, okay? Why I say that is this one right here. This sleeping bag here is rated for 10 degrees to 50 degrees, okay? That's pretty cold. 10 degrees above zero? That's Fahrenheit, by the way. That's pretty freaking cold, okay? It does get colder than that here, but again, I've got a tent stove. And even if I don't have the tent stove up, as long as I've got a campfire built, if it's 10 degrees out, or below 10 degrees out, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to make it. Plus, you got clothes on and the whole 9 yards. Be fine. Look at the price of that. $32.99. Plus, you click that little button there and you get $5 off of that. So $28. $28 a piece for a sleeping bag that's rated for 10 degrees above zero. That's pretty incredible. Go look at the price of sleeping bags. I'll scroll down here. They got a lot of cheapies on here. Okay. But you go look for here's a 15-degree sleeping bag, a down sleeping bag. $134.99. You go looking at these things online and you'll find some very expensive prices really, really quick. I'm telling you. They're not coming up because it's a cheap one selected. So it's for under the suggested items, it's showing me all cheap ones. But, another thing you want to do is here's one right here. That is a cheap one. I guess they offer multiples for $160. But yeah, just take a look. You'll be shocked. You'll be shocked when you look at cold weather sleeping bags. Now, is this a down model that, it smashes up real tiny in a little bitty 2-inch sack? No, it's not. It's not one of those. It's going to be bigger than that, okay? So yeah, it's not the ultra cool, ultra tactical, ultra packable. I can't even speak, right? I'm trying to make it sound stupid because it is stupid, right? I'm not going to go out and pay $160, $200, $300 for a sleeping bag. I'm not going to do it. I can't afford to do it, and I couldn't bring myself to do it. It's not going to happen. I'm going to find a good deal, right? And so I looked for quite a while on a good sleeping bag for a really good price. That's what I came up with. That's the 4-pound version. They've got multiple versions. They've got 3.3 pound one, 4 pound, 2.2 pound one, a lighter one, 3.34, and another 2.2. And the one that I've got listed in our wish list is the 4-pound one. Okay, so the heaviest one of them. And again, it's not the ones that go in a real tiny bag and all of that. Man, they've got some that go in a real super tiny bag, and those things are rated for below zero. Unbelievable stuff, but you're going to pay for it too. Okay, don't try to get the Lamborghini when you've got Chevy Corsica money. You know what I'm saying? Do what you can. Do what you can, but there are good deals out there. There's good bargains out there. Don't let it intimidate you. Don't let it intimidate you. Take your time. And that's why I said, early on in talking about this, that's why I said you want to go out, ideally, and you want to have all of this done. Do all your legwork, your homework, your research. Do that now. Get you a list made up. That way, when you do come in at enough money to make a purchase on an item, you go to your list and you get it done. Pretty much, I bet I could get away with saying that 99%, and I'm not playing with numbers, I'm not exaggerating, 99% of our extra money goes to prepping. It's no joke. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. There are very few things that we buy outside of our necessities. We got to eat, we got to have power, we got to, you know what I mean? There are very few things outside of our necessities that we buy that is not prepping. We don't eat out. We might possibly eat Burger King once, about once a month, maybe. And that's not every month. Most months I don't think we eat out ever, right? We don't eat out. We don't pay $150 for cable internet or cable TV. We don't have many luxuries. We don't. We do have we're Amazon Prime member, because that's, to be honest, if you order from Amazon, it's a real damn good thing to do. We do have a Netflix account. We do have Kindle Unlimited, which we might be nixing that here real soon. That's about it. I don't think we've got anything. I mean, internet, but I use that for, if you want to call it work. I, got to have the internet for what the things I do. I wouldn't be here if we didn't have it. But that's it. We don't go out and spend money on stuff. We just don't. Like I said, I mentioned my socks. I think I've got the pair I have on that don't have holes in them, maybe one other pair. I don't even have a good pair of jeans anymore. They've all got holes in them. In fact, I've got one that I've got a patch here. I was going to do that today and didn't get it done because it's gotten so bad. One of the belt loops that I hang my keys from is broke. So I can't even hang my keys. So I have to I can't even just sew it. I have to go in and take a piece of material and sew in on the inside of the pants so I have something to sew to, because it takes a lot for me to spend money on something just for me. I would rather put that money towards prepping, something that's going to help sustain us. And I know clothes is a part of that. But when it comes to prepping, I would rather put money towards a decent pair of tactical pants or something that's going to be a little better suited for the job anyway than just a cheap pair of blue jeans. But I'll get there. I'll get them. Unfortunately, I'll tell you what, I would do the Goodwill thing if we had one here, but we don't. So our closest Goodwill is 20, 25 minutes away. So it doesn't do us any good when we can't get there. But anyway, don't let it intimidate you. One thing at a time. Get you a list together. Prioritize that list. And don't sweat it. Spend as much time as you can each and every day learning, because knowledge is going to get you out of more problems than anything else. And that's something that money can't buy. Knowledge. The most important prep. And the more knowledge you obtain, the less of those other items you need. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to discuss that, because I know even myself, when I went through and when I added all this stuff, and believe me, this is not everything on the wish list. I prioritized. I took the more important items that we never gotten around to getting, and I put it over here. And even in doing so, I was like, whew, man, we still got a little ways to go. But, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Anyway, let's see. Let me go ahead and get some headlines done. Oh, well, let me see if anybody's got any questions or anything. You know, one of the things that I think is most important about my job, if you want to call it that, is helping, trying to be able to help. And I'm always here for that. You know, if you need advice, if you need, you know, some help on, you know, what type of prepping items would be best, or, you know, need help finding a particular item or something like that, I'm here. I could not be happier than to do that, than to help somebody help get prepared. So, you know, by all means, you can contact me. You know, a lot of you got my number. So that, you know, that's simple enough. I do my best to be able to answer. Sometimes it's a little hectic around here. But I've got email, and I do my best to reply to those, even though I hate typing. But that's why I said, if anybody's got any questions, go ahead and ask away. And I'll go ahead and start headlines, and if somebody's got a question or whatever, I'll stop and I'll try to help you come up with your answer. But anytime, that's kind of what I'm here for. It's kind of what I'm here for. I want to help people be able to better prepare. And there's a much better way to do it than going out and buying all the name brand super duper expensive stuff, right? You don't see me going out to try to find a DJI Phantom drone for $1,000, right? No, absolutely not. You look down through the items and you'll find I don't have name brand items in here. Why? Because the whole point is that I try to find lesser expensive items that will do just as good, and in some cases better. So some things are name brand. Right in the Rain, that's name brand product. Rothko, that's pretty well name brand. But you get my point. You get my point. Anyway, let me run through some headlines here. Like I say, kind of crazy things going on in Europe with Brexit today. Let me have a sip of coffee. All right. And I just shared out just a minute ago another link involving the Brexit ordeal. Oh, there is. Best small cook stove for indoor use. Okay. Tony had asked that question, by the way. Let me repeat the question in its entirety for those that won't see the chat later. Mike, what is the best small cook stove for indoor use? Well, the first question I have to ask you is, what type of fuel are you talking about? Are you talking about, you say indoor use? Do you need something that you don't have to ventilate outside whatsoever? In other words, like, would wood be completely and totally out of the question? If you're talking indoor, absolutely indoor, I would honestly say your best bet would be, I would go white gas. That being said, yeah, you could do propane. You could do propane. You could do propane. You could do the butane. The issues with that, with those things, is being able to have fuel, running out of fuel. So I would tell you this to add to the propane. What I would recommend, highly recommend people do, is let's say you get yourself. Let me bring one up here. Okay. If I can type. Okay, so let me bring up propane Coleman stove. Okay, so if you had something like, let's say just this for argument's sake, right? So you had something like this, just a typical propane, cooking stove, camping stove. What I would do, and I'll answer your question about white gas just a moment. What I would do, this will take the little, I think they're 1 pound bottles of Coleman fuel, Coleman propane, or I say Coleman. There's a million brands of it, but just the 1 pound bottles. But what you can do is you can get, let's see, propane fill adapter, and I saw it pop up. You can get these, and what these will do, this adapter here, $8. What this will do is this will let you connect that little 1 pound propane tank, okay, to this side, and over on this side where you see the black connector, that you can connect. Here's another view of one that you can connect to one of the big, 25 pound, I think it is, barbecue grill tanks, so that you can actually refill that 1 pound tank. So it's like a real good idea if you decide to go with propane as far as your heating for, SHTF. I would definitely suggest having an adapter without a doubt. Another thing that you can do, another method that you have, is you have adapter hoses that will allow you to go, they're the 20 pound, the barbecue grill ones. I couldn't remember if it was 20 and 25. They've got these here too that you're looking at that will allow you to go from, say, the 20 pound barbecue grill tank down to the 1 pound size connector, so that you can actually connect a barbecue grill tank into directly into your camping stove, your regular camping stove, like this one here, for instance. So propane's not a bad option. You're still going to want to maybe crack a window or something, because there is still some level of carbon monoxide that it will put off. Anything you can bust is going to have some level of it. But you're pretty safe with propane. White gas, that is also known as like Coleman fuel. I'm sure that they've probably got it. In fact, I bought some from Amazon. I'm going to see if I can find the metal can of it. I bet I can't, because that's what you're going to recognize. But if you recall the lanterns, in fact, I did a review on our stove, and I think I did a review on the lantern. I believe I did. The old stoves and the lanterns, like the camping ones that you had to pump up, those used white gas. And I was looking to see if they had the old Coleman. Everybody knows it by how it looks. Oh, well, just because Amazon doesn't have it doesn't mean it's not on the internet. It's the one that most people would remember seeing. And, of course, a small picture. You probably remember seeing those cans when you've gone to the store or whatnot. That's white gas inside of there. Yeah, it's a liquid. The reason why I recommend it is because it goes a fairly long way. You can pick it up. There's a brand called Crown that you can buy from Walmart. This is the Crown right here. This is what we get. This is the quart. You can also get it in the gallon. This is the Crown, and I think it is. Let me put it in here real quick because prices change on this stuff too. But they have it in the gallons at Wally World here, and $8.86 at Walmart to get a gallon of the Crown white gas. So, and again, it goes a fairly long way. The difference in between using the two indoor is, I would say, I would crack a window a little bit more because your white gas is going to put off a little more fumes than what your propane is going to. Your Coleman, and I was going to show this, I didn't think to show this. Your Coleman fuel is like $13 a gallon. So you're looking at, roughly, I forget the exact price of the last one, but 8 something versus $12.92, right? So a little bit of a difference, especially if you stock up on it. We've got 3 gallons back there. My goal is to have 20 to 25 gallons stocked, and it's something that we've gotten up to 3 gallons, and I haven't put anything more towards that. And I will, though. Again, like I said, just take it one thing at a time and just work at it methodically. Knock out what you can when you can. Make sure to prioritize, though. That's what is insanely important, is make sure to prioritize. With 3 gallons setting back there, I feel pretty comfortable. That will actually cover me, for a good little while if need be. Because guess what? Wood burns, right? I'm not too intimidated by not being able to have a source for heat to cook on. Because when all boils down to it, we've got the tent stove, we've got, so 3 gallons of white gas is actually going to do pretty well for me. I would like to have more, wouldn't we all, right? I'd like to have more because, I could also use our stove to double as a form of heat. So that's essentially what I want to stock up on the fuel. So, yeah, I agree. It does seem like a better option. I have the let's see, the 533 dual fuel stove. In fact, I did the video on that one, and it's actually in our list. Let me bring that up here. Oops. Actually, it'd probably be easier for me to go this method. Hang on a second. Sorry. If you go to the Amazon store from the website and you go in the cooking, food and cooking, it should be in here. Am I blind? Okay, why is it not in there? I wonder if the place where I had it from no longer carries it, and that's why it's not there. Good question. Okay. Oh, I have a separate category. I've got it here. I'm an idiot. Sorry. I've actually got a separate category. I've got one that is titled Coleman 533 Single Burner Stove. This is the one that we have right here. Don't know if a single burner is good enough for you or not. But they have this one for $64.99. That is the one that we have. But they also have an let's see, that's going to be in my other wish list. Let me pull this up here. Like I told you, there is a lot of stuff in my wish list that I didn't move over. You'll notice that as I scroll down through this 5-mile long thing. Here. They've got a dual burner here for $98.89. Let me put this over in the cooking section. There you go. So now this one, and that's actually a good price for a dual burner white gas stove. That's actually a pretty good price, $98.89. So that's the one I'm looking at. At some point, again, if we get far enough ahead that we've got all other things taken care of, so to speak, yeah, I'll probably get a dual burner versus just having a single burner. But I wanted something, at least for the now, I wanted something that would be a little more portable than what this is. I do probably need to put that other one also in the cooking section, because that was kind of screwed up. If I went to the wrong place, I would imagine others would go to the wrong place as well. So now they're both over there in the food cooking in the Amazon store. So, I think. Let me make sure that, yeah, it's there. Okay. But yeah, that would be, they're on the Amazon site. Let me show you again on getting there, just to, that way you're not confused. If you go to our website at thewatchmannews.com, or there's the link in the description of the videos too, if you click on Amazon store, that will open up this, our actual Amazon store. And now they're actually both in the food cooking. So just click on food/cooking. And actually the first two items are stoves. So, yep, they're over there now. So, the fuel you're probably going to have to get locally. You can buy the small bottles online, but it's not worth it. It's more expensive. So, Walmart and Crown Fuel is probably your best bet, because Crown's quite a bit cheaper. And, Walmart is probably about the cheapest place you're going to find it. So, oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Absolutely. Let's see. Okay, let me go ahead and grab some headlines out of the way here. Another sip of coffee. And just remember, though, crack your window. If you use that indoors, make sure you crack a window. I don't want to... they're not recommended to use inside, but with a little bit of common sense, if you're doing it by a window in the kitchen or something, just crack that window. You'll be fine. Okay. London reviewing diplomatic immunity rules after wife of U.S. diplomat killed 19-year-old in car crash and fled the UK. I think I read that one yesterday, but I wanted to make absolutely sure that it got read. Let's see. Read up on Stalingrad. Russia reacts to NATO buying winter kits for Arctic warfare. That's kind of concerning. Really, truly is. Okay, and those two I shared out last night. This is crazy. This is nuts. I need my glasses, though. Watch Lebanon protesters sing Baby Shark to frighten child amid heated protests sparked by tax hikes. That's not a joke. I mean, it's crazy. I had to do it, and I got to do it again, right? This is crazy, and you'll see the child here. There's the scared little boy. Check this out. Is that awesome or what? I mean, really, seriously, that is absolutely awesome. And it wasn't just a few people. I wanted to show you this. It wasn't just a few people around that car. Check this out. I mean, I'm sorry. I just think that's incredible. I really do. That's humanity. That's humanity. I always talk about looking out for the sparks in humanity. That's humanity. That's it. That's it right there. Okay, Bolivia opposition candidate contest election count as rival protesters and police clash in the streets. Tongue-tied for some reason. With Syrian ceasefire ticking down, Erdogan travels to Russia to meet Putin and talk peace. Pentagon to create AI assistant to help tank crews navigate and make decisions in battle. What could possibly go wrong, right? Robotank. Half the world's banks are too weak to survive downturn, says McKinsey. I would agree with that, by the way. Turkey to resume assault on Kurds in Syria with more determination if U.S. doesn't keep its promises, says Erdogan. China to lead global 5G revolution, reaching 600 million subscribers by 2025. Watch police open fire as Oslo ambulance ramming suspect flees the scene. Yeah, there was somebody over there in Oslo that had taken an ambulance, like hijacked an ambulance, and was starting to hit pedestrians. Absolutely nuts. Thank God there was no fatalities from that I know of. Transit only U.S. troops pulled out of Syria and moved to Iraq are now asked out of the country. Yes, you heard that correctly. Iraq is only allowing them to use their country to be able to move out of Syria. That's it. They're not allowed to stick around. Not allowed to stick around. I think that speaks volumes. New Silk Road, Kenya's massive $1.5 billion railway, funded and built entirely by China. Watch farmers roll out hundreds of tractors in German cities protesting new eco rules. Brexit overload ? Twitter down in major UK cities as MPs debate Bojo's EU withdrawal plan. Trump approves $4.5 million in aid to white helmets in Syria. Let me say that again. Trump approves $4.5 million in aid to white helmets in Syria. Think about that. I've long said that white helmets were probably some of the dirtiest operators over there in the Middle East that there are. I know what they're told to be. I get that. A humanitarian refugee aid group, right? That's not what they do. They are involved in some pretty serious covert operations. Just got to pay close attention. Who's the first person on scene, it seems like, every time there's a quote-unquote chemical gas attack? The white helmets. You know why they're there? Because they were already there. Think about that. So you're going to see more issues arise now in Syria. In fact, you're going to see more quote-unquote need for the U.S. to be over there. Let's see. Putin and Erdogan face media after talks on Syria. Let's see. Russian and Syrian forces to deploy to northeastern Syria outside Turkey operation zone. And that's been determined in the Putin-Erdogan agreement. Let's see. One person injured in California high school shooting, says reports. Landmark Brexit bill passed by UK lawmakers. All eyes now on crucial timetable vote. Russia offers African leaders no strings attached business and protection from Western pressure. Bojo's Brexit bill in limbo again as MPs vote down fast-track timetable. I thought that was nuts, and that's why I kind of tuned in earlier today and started watching their proceedings. Kind of trying to get a feel for what was going on. It's kind of nuts, really. I mean, it really was interesting to watch. It really, truly was. Protesters take to the streets in Barcelona as rallies enter second week. Erdogan says U.S. is not fully completed its promises on Syria. Turkey ready to, and I can't read the rest. Hang on a second. Turkey ready to take needed steps, says a report. Sorry, I forgot what the rest of it was. I was going to try to go by memory. The latest EU Council president will recommend Brexit delay. Okay, now that's coming from the EU Council president, right? Listen to this. France says it will only agree to technical Brexit delay of a few days, no more. And they mean no more. I'm pretty sure that's all it says on that headline. Oh, no further extension is how they worded it. So yeah, France is saying, look, you get a few days. That's it. This isn't going to go months long or anything like that. You get a few days. So we'll see what happens. It's something to pay close attention to. It truly is. I think this whole Brexit thing is really shaking up the EU. I really, truly do. I think it's a great thing. I think it's awesome. I really do. I think it's been a long time coming, and I think it's been long needed. And I commend everyone involved in not only bringing it up, but involved in getting it pushed through. Nigel Farage, I think is his name, is the politician that pushed it through. And, I would love to see more of the same. I really would. I think we really need to break off from this big global economic system that we're all involved in. I think we need to become a little more independent, not only with our economy, but also in our manufacturing and just about every other way. Because, if you stopped all imports of goods just overnight, right? You wake up tomorrow, there's no more imported goods. That would put a huge hurt on the United States because we don't manufacture a whole lot anymore. There's a lot of everyday items that we use that we don't manufacture. We haven't manufactured them for years, decades. So I don't think that's good for national security. And then when it comes to the consumer end of it, like I've showed you, I showed you the cost yesterday. I talked about how the cost of drones went up. They haven't changed since yesterday, by the way. But I showed you how the cost of them went up exponentially, right? I keep an eye on this stuff. I always keep an eye on this stuff. These water filters, which, by the way, come from China, these water filters, they were actually down to like $72 some odd cents. Now they're up to $89.99. Okay, I keep an eye on this stuff. I really, truly do. Keep a close eye on it. I don't know of anything else in the list that I've really noticed a substantial change in. But keep an eye on things. You'll see it. Especially your electronics goods, because they're what's really getting hit hard with the tariffs and stuff like that. They're really hitting the electronics goods. So, I think it would be a good idea for all countries, not just the EU and not just, the UK and with Brexit and all of that. I think it would be good for all countries to become more independent, not only financially, but as well as manufacturing as well. I think it's hugely important. So, food, oh my God. I feel for the countries that, have an issue being able to produce their own food. Because, man, if something happens with them being able to get imports, they're going to be in some bad shape. Luckily, here in the United States, we're pretty well off for the most part when it comes to being able to produce food. Some countries, they don't have, good land for farming. They don't, whatever the case may be. But I think all other countries need to take those countries in consideration and be humane. But largely, I think I think the countries need to be more independent. I really do. Intermingling in these manners to the extent that we are with other countries, man, it's just bad news. It's bad news all around for everybody. But Anyway, let me go ahead and close up the monologue and move on from there. For those here for the live show, don't go anywhere, don't do anything. We'll be live till 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. For those here for the monologue, or if you're watching the recording later on, thank you very much. As always, God bless you, we love you, and be one with your spirit.